Shalom. All praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, Bahashim HaRukakwadash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well, and peace and salutations to the hopeful elect that's pushing this word in sincere honor and faith. Want to do a quick video because the video I want to get into is basically upon what's going on in the world today as far as in the world of Babylon. You have a government shutdown. It's almost at a month of a government shutdown, meaning people are going to work, but they are not being compensated. They're not having wages. Some portions of the government shutdown, they're not even going to work. And some of them that are going to work, but are being told that they won't receive a paycheck. And that's right along the lines of the scriptures. The scriptures talk about this. This is another sign, of the prophecies coming to pass that let us know what time we're in. And so, first scripture I want to get into is Isaiah 19, and starting at verse 14. It says, "The Lord had mingled a perverse spirit in the midst thereof." Now let's talk about what some of those perverse spirits are. Some of those perverse spirits are false philosophies, homosexuality, idolatry, false doctrine, feminism, women's liberation movement, and the highly promotion of women being uplifted over the men and out of order. These are all some of the things that are perverse spirits that are going on throughout the earth, primarily in the land of Babylon, aka, or you may know Babylon the Great as America. That's how you identify Babylon, America, in the scriptures. So all these things are perverse spirits that are going on throughout Babylon, and it's overflowing beyond Babylon out to the four corners of the earth. These things are going on all across the four corners of the earth. Why? A lot of these things are influenced by America. People from other countries see these things going on in America and they adapt them in their own countries. Not on a high level as it is in America, but like I said, Babylon is the great melting pot. Babylon means the city, it means confusion. So all these things are going on because they're not being, the land was supposed to be governed by the Bible, but everything that goes on in Babylon is totally against the Bible. So these are perverse spirits that the Most High is allowing to take place in Babylon to let you know what the scripture is talking about. So I'm going to start again from the top. It says, "The Lord had mingled a perverse spirit in the midst thereof, and they have caused Egypt," Egypt is another name for Babylon or another name for America, "to err in every works thereof, as a drunken man staggered in his vomit." And when you're in a confused state and you're being totally overcome by all these perverse spirits, you're going to be as a drunken man. You're going to be out of your mind. You're going to be not stable minded. Because the people that follow these things according to the scriptures, that's profanity, man. You're outside the temple. You're not following the things that the scriptures say. So therefore, you're unstable. Verse 19, and it's not just going to be, since you're going into these things as unstable, spiritually unstable, the Most High is going to punish you. And one of the punishments is you not being able to provide for your family. And it's not just, the government shutdown is just hitting these government employees. This is going on beyond the government shutdown. There's plenty of people that don't have work, or they don't have the means, meaning they have employment, but the wages that they're earning are not able to keep up with the means of a lifestyle that they need to take care of themselves, sustain themselves. You have people that are living multiple families in one household. This is what's going on, sharing one vehicle. This is what's going on through Babylon. People aren't living. This is not what people envision when they think of the American dream. Because your American dream wakes up and that was just a nightmare. It's definitely a nightmare. People aren't being able to, they're not being able to take care of themselves, their whole families, children, things of that nature. It says back I'm left off at verse 14, so I'm at 15. It says, "Neither shall there be any work for Egypt, which the head or tail, branch or rush may do." So if there's not going to be any work in Egypt being America, you look throughout the world today, or look throughout in society, what's happening in the real world, people don't have work. So you know clearly that this is prophecy coming to pass, and this government shutdown just happens to be on a huge mass scale. I believe it's like 800,000 employees of federal government employees, U.S. government employees that are out of work or that are earning wages through their employment. Verse 16, "In that day shall Egypt be like unto women," because this is one of the prophecies that goes into leading up the destruction of America. So it's also going to bring forth all the calamities, all the perils, all the famine, spearheading you straight into the day of the Lord's wrath. So it says, "In that day shall Egypt be like unto women," meaning they're not gonna have faith. They're the weaker link, a weaker vessel. A woman is a weaker vessel. A woman lacks faith. A woman gets afraid and scared. So that's a prophecy of saying how people in Egypt are gonna be. It says, "And it shall be afraid and fear because of the shaking of the hand of the Lord of hosts." And the shaking of the hand of the Lord of hosts is the Most High allowing these prophecies to come to pass in the day of the Lord's wrath. All the different trials and tribulation that's going to come upon everybody. That's the hand of the Lord. You're going to know that this has got to be the Most High that's doing this. This ain't something that can be described of any other reason of it's happening to us but by the way of the Most High. So you ain't going to be able to give no excuse or no reasons of why this is going on. You're going to know this is people who don't know the name of the Most High. This is God doing this to us. It says, "Which he shaken over it. And in the land of Judah shall be a terror unto Egypt. Every one that maketh mention thereof shall be afraid in himself, because the counsel of the Lord of hosts," and the counsel of the Lord of hosts is the scriptures. And the scriptures tell you exactly what the Most High says is going to come to pass, what you should and should not do, and the things you should do if you want to receive mercy, and the things you shouldn't do, which will bring forth judgment unto you. It says, "Which he had determined against it," which the Most High against it meaning against Babylon, against America. These are things that are going to be taking place. So when you look on the soils of America, people aren't having work. They don't have employment. People aren't earning wages. People have to set fin for themselves. And this is also goes in part of all the goodies, the goodie bags that the government gives to the people. All your government assistance, government wages. Not wages, government food stamps and government money. They give you, and when you're on welfare, which usually welfare is awarded to women because they get the money and the food and the medical assistance or whatnot. And they usually have to have a child for that, depending on each, your government, your local government. But then men get on what is called GR. I believe it's general relief, which they award you food stamps, and then if you go through the job program, you can be awarded funding, like money, but it's a little bit. It's not enough to hold yourself. It's just something that the government gives, just to it's a small amounts. It's not something that you can sustain a family with, let alone just taking care of in yourself. You really can't get by off of it, but it's something that the government gives that people aren't going to be having. And even people that's on they receive checks from the state, from the federal government. So the next scripture I'm going to get into, because these are all things that are just taking place throughout the earth, that has been taking place on a small level, but it's starting. You don't need glasses, you don't need bifocals, you don't need a magnifying glass. It's straight in your face. Glasses off, you can still see this. This is taking place. Everyone has somebody that's affected by this. Someone, whether it's you personally, or your family member, or it could be your spouse or your mate, or it could be a relative. That's a relative. Somebody who's affected by this. This is Ecclesiastes 12:1. It says, "Remember now thy Creator in the days of thy youth, while the evil days come not." So you need to be turning to the Most High, seeking out the Most High. There's brothers out there that goes out teaching on the streets. There's brothers putting up videos. There's you seek the Most High by following what the scriptures say, and the scriptures tell you that the men will be out there. So you can hearken to as my case and many other brothers, the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. You can watch their videos and you seek the Most High. I mean, you pray to the Most High, you change your ways, you convert your wickedness into righteous ways. You don't do the things the scriptures say not to do, and you do the things the scriptures tell you to do to the best of your ability. That's how you seek out the Most High and seek out the Creator in the days of your youth. It says, "While the evil days come not, nor the years draw nigh, when thou shalt say, I have no pleasure in them." Meaning the Most High, He ain't gonna have any pleasure in those who don't follow His ways. Mainly, we talking about the 2/3, because the elect, the hopeful elect, and the 1/3, they're gonna seek out the Creator in the days of their youth. They're gonna change their ways. Verse 2: "While the sun or the light or the moon or the stars be not darkened, nor the clouds return after the rain." These are all signs to let you know that we're in the last days. We just had a solar eclipse, blood moon. So these are all signs that are showing you these things are going to be happening before the day of the Lord wrath kick off. So you have but X amount of time, so don't tarry to turn to the Lord, to seek out the Most High. Verse 3, and we're going back into what the topic is about, there being no work, in Babylon. Verse 3, it says, "In that day," so like in the day, "when the keepers of the house shall tremble." The keepers of the house is a so-called white man, primarily talking about the elites. I'm gonna start from the top, read it through, and I'm gonna go back over it. It says, "In the day when the keepers of the house shall tremble, and the strong men shall bow themselves." So like, give me one moment. All right. It says, "In the day when the keepers of the house shall tremble, and the strong men shall bow themselves, and the grinding cease, because there are few, and those that look out of the windows be darkened." This is all talking about no work. There's not going to have any work in Babylon. It just goes to show, because the grinding, when you grind represents, you working. And so the grinding shall cease, meaning there won't be any jobs for you. People won't have work. People won't have jobs because they're not available. There's no work for people. So therefore, with that being said, what else is going to take place? What do people do when they don't have work? People don't have work. They start to riot. They start to have, uproars. You see that going on in France, it's Greece, Venezuela, these other countries that don't have, they get into the streets and they start rioting. They go out destroying stuff. They go out and then their government, either their local law enforcement, or they're bringing the National Guard or their military to basically get into riot gear and to try to prevent the people from causing too much damage. But the people throw rocks at them, they throw bottles and stuff, they do all that stuff because they're pissed off because their government is spending their money and they don't have money for the public, for the citizens of that country. We see that happen in other countries because the people here in America you haven't felt that squeeze. You haven't felt that twist, that you squeezing you out when you ain't getting. It's gonna come to America. All this stuff is gonna happen here in America because the people they're gonna be going without and they're gonna have enough. So what happens is you have to have is law and order. They're gonna have to declare martial law. So I'm gonna read verse 4. It says the doors shall be shut in the streets when the sound of the grinding is low, And he shall rise up at the voice of the birds, and the daughters of the music shall be low. This is all talking about people not having work. The grinding is low, and the bird. They said the voice of the birds is your alarm clocks, and your morning alarm clocks waking you up to go to work. You're not gonna have that. And when it says all the doors shall be shut, that's talking about martial law. They're gonna have to declare martial law because people aren't gonna have money because they have no work, and they're not gonna be able to provide for their families, put food on the table, pay bills, keep a roof over their head. So they're gonna begin to riot in the streets. So the government is gonna have to declare martial law. So all these things are just prophecies that are about to explode in America. The prophecy is going to come to pass, and it's going to be like an explosion to people. It's going to shock and rock people so hard. The next scripture I'm getting into is Zechariah, and I'm going to start from Zechariah 8, and I'm going to start from verse 5. It says, "And the streets of the city shall be full of boys and girls playing in the streets thereof." And this is what's taking place right now. You have kids playing in the streets, or kids going to the park and stuff. It's just so normal. Everything is normal. It seems normal, put it that way, because people are suffering, but there are people that are okay. Verse 6, "Thus saith the Lord of hosts, if it be marvelous in the eyes of the remnant of this people in these days, should it also be marvelous in mine eyes, saith the Lord of hosts? Thus saith the Lord of hosts, behold, I will save my people from the east country, and from the west country." And this is how we know that this is talking about this time. So I'm going to go into a quick scripture in Baruch. This is Baruch 4:29. It says, "Miserable are they that afflicted thee, and rejoice at thy fall." It's talking about the so-called white man. He afflicted us, and he rejoiced at our fall. It says, "Miserable are the cities which thy children served. Miserable is she that receiveth thy sons." This all took place here in America too. We were afflicted in this land. We're still continues to be afflicted in this land, and this is a huge portion of the judgment that was given unto the nation of Israel to serve slavery. We're in slavery. This is we're still currently under our punishment to serve. Even though we're not in physical shackle chains, we're still in slavery in this land. This is the so-called white man. This is his kingdom, which is our hell. So we still suffering as a people, as a whole. Verse 33. It says, "For as she rejoiced at thy ruins, and was glad for thy fall, so shall she be grieved of her own desolation." So when America goes down, and those who rule, the so-called white man, when he is taken out of power, he's going to grieve on his own destruction, and we're going to rejoice in your destruction. "For I will take away the rejoicing of her great multitude, and her pride shall be turned into mourning." So as soon as this take place, those smiles are going to be turned to frowns. If you're an Edomite, if you're in power, if you're one of the elites, because you're going to be first to be ushered into slavery. When you go down, mourning shall come upon you like never before. You're gonna be in a worse state than you were when you were in the caves. And we can't wait. We can't wait to rejoice for these days and these times to come, because that happens is the birth of our salvation. The Most High is the birth of our salvation, is the birth of our kingdom and our rulership. So that's why we're gonna rejoice, and we're gonna praise the name of the Most High. Verse 35, it says, "For fire shall come upon her from the everlasting, long to endure, and she shall be inhabited of devils for a great time." And you can read about that in Isaiah, the 13th chapter, around I believe it's like the 21st verse or so. It goes into how the these devils are gonna gonna have that land. The land we're talking about is America. I believe it's Isaiah the 21st chapter on down to like the 22nd chapter. It talks about devils inhabiting desert creatures inhabiting this land. Also, reading the whole book of Isaiah 34, it goes into naming, the Camarat and the satyr and all the different fowls and creatures that's gonna inhabit that land. The desert creatures after America's destroyed. There's gonna be no life living here but those desert creatures. So reading that again, it says, for fire shall come upon her from the everlasting, long to endure, and she shall be inhabited of the devils for their great time. O Jerusalem, look about thee towards the east, and behold the joy that cometh unto thee from the Most High. Lo, thy sons come, whom thou sendest away. They come gathered together from the east to the west by the word of the Holy One, rejoicing in the glory of the Most High. And that's what's happening right now. The word of the Most High has come upon the four corners of the earth, and the Savior will be coming from the east to the west. And it's already started with the gathering of the elect. The elect is being gathered by the word right now, but then the elect will be gathered physically by the angels of the Most High. The chariots will come and they will gather and save the elect. So back in Zechariah, this is the last scripture. Zechariah left off at verse. Let's see. I left off verse 7. It said, I'm gonna jump back into verse 8. It says, and I will bring them, and they shall dwell in the midst of Jerusalem, and they shall be my people, and I will be their power in truth and in righteousness. And that's what's taking place right now. Those who the Most High have called, they have been. The Most High is our power in righteousness and in truth. And so we put our faith and our belief in that, and hoping that when these times come, that the Most High will provide for us. Like during these times right now, on the low level of tribulation that we're facing, meaning people not being able to have work and not having income, the Most High has provided for his the men that he's called, and the men that's called, and the women that has joined unto these men and their children. The Most High has been providing for them. The scriptures tell you that when this thing kicks off, the hopeful elect, the elect is they're gonna have food. They're not gonna thirst. They're not gonna be in hunger, but they're gonna be provided for. But the 2/3 in the other nations, you're gonna hunger and thirst, because you won't be provided. The Most High is not gonna provide for you. Verse 9, it says, Thus saith the Lord of hosts, let your hands be strong, ye that hear in these days these words by the mouth of the prophets. So, let your hands be strong. Put your hands towards doing the work of the Most High as best you can, as much as you can. If you're in a situation where you can put up a lot of videos, you can go out and do the work as much as you can. Do that. If you're in a situation where things are prohibiting you from doing it as much as you want to, do it as you can. And when you're able to do more, you do more. It's a balance of this thing. The Most High puts balance on it. You gotta be able to implement balance within yourself and what you could do. If you in a situation where you couldn't go out to camp, you had to work, you had slavery. If you can make it up, make it up. That's all you can do. The Most High understands your situation because He put you in that position you're in that situation that's going on with you. He has you in that situation, so you can't let it frustrate you. Me myself, because of slavery, I haven't been able to go out on the streets and teach as much as I want. But you best rest assured, be the Lord's will, when I'm able to, I'll make it up. That's the situation. It's my personal situation. Brothers may have a different situation, but the Most High understands because He put you in that predicament. But at the same time, your mind and your hands put it strong towards the Most High. I'm gonna read that part again. It says, "Thus saith the Lord of hosts, let your hands be strong, ye that hear in these days these words by the mouth of the prophets, which were in the days that the foundation of the house of the Lord of hosts was laid, that the temple might be built." And that goes back to from the beginning. The elect was created in the beginning. One of the beginning creations from the foundation of the earth. That was the elect that was there with the most high Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, with Yahushai and the angels. They were all there in the beginning, making all the creations. So that's what this is talking about. This is talking about His elect and the Lord of hosts, which is also King David's army. The army of hosts is going to be the same as the men there that were with the Most High. I mean, with King David representing the Most High. It says that the temple might be built. The temple is being built right now. It's a spiritual temple right now. That's what's being built. And it's going across the four corners of the earth. You see the brothers out there from all over, even brothers that are in other Israelite camps that are not affiliated with Great Millstone or don't follow the teachings of the apostles of Great Millstone. There are men that are in other groups that are sincere men. The Most High is going to pull them out of whatever false doctrine they may be following at this point in time. They might be in their churches somewhere. They're gonna all be pulled in towards the truth. Because when you go back in the verse 8, it says, "And I will be their power in truth and in righteousness." So therefore, those men, whomever they are, will be a part of this. Will be a part of building that spiritual temple that's being built right now. And the last verse says, For before these days there was no hire for men, nor any hire for beasts, neither was there any peace to him that went out or came in because of the afflictions. For I set all men every one against his neighbor," which this is, we're approaching this. We're swiftly approaching this right now. We already have it to where there's no hire. People have no jobs. And in the ancient days, it spoke of being beasts, like people, there was no hire for a man or his beast in those ancient days, because the people used their beasts to plow the earth and to till the ground and different things, oxes and even horseback and camel, all the different beasts that were used to help provide work. In modern day now, your beasts would probably represent your vehicles. People use their vehicles for work. People use their vehicles to get to work. These are all things that are taking place in the earth right now. And it also says, the end of the verse says, "For I will set men every one against his neighbor." This is race wars. These are people invading the people's houses to take their goods. These are all things that are going to happen in the day of the Lord's wrath, which will lead to martial law, and that'll be it. Once these things take place, they got to implement the chip. People are going to be getting thrown into concentration camps, and famine will be taking place. Disease warfare will be taking place. All these things will spearhead directly into the day of the Lord's wrath. So that's why the scriptures say, in verse 9 says, "Let your hands be strong, ye that hear in these days these words by the mouth of the prophets." So that entails us in this truth. Do the work as much as you can. Don't let it bother you if you're able to do as much as you want to do, because the scriptures say you will never do enough. We all have. The thing is having your heart, a strong heart geared towards the Most High. If you're in a situation where you got brothers who are truck drivers, you got brothers, who they can't even have weekends off to join the camp or to be out there when the brothers go out. There's different things that may prohibit a brother from doing the work as much as he would want to, but you don't let that get your mind to lacking faith. You just do what you can when you're able to. The Most High will make a way. The Most High will make a way for you to be out there and do what you got to do. So, with that, I'd like to say all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh by Hashem Yahushai, by Hashem HaRakakodash, double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and peace and salutations to the hopeful elects that's striving for salvation. I hope this was edifying for those who was able to tune in. Shalom.